Hi there, I'm Jonathan, and welcome to my channel, Jonathan's Diamond Painting and Stuff. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're coming back to me, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here today. So, all the usual stuff. If you like my videos, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my content in general and haven't yet subscribed, please consider hitting that button and clicking the bell icon and all to get all the notifications. So this is going to be a WIP and Chat video. So WIP and Chat is work in progress, and obviously the chat is self-explanatory. I'm just going to give you an update what's been going on with me. I did do a little poll in my Facebook group. If you're interested in engaging with me on a more personal level, my group has about 360 odd members now, so it's continually growing. It's a lovely community. We have like-minded people where we just all post progress updates of what we're working on, and also if you're also a content provider like me, I'm very happy to have other content providers, and share their channels on my platform. So yeah, it's just a lovely community of like-minded people, because I do believe in, sharing the love, and, we're all in this together and everything. So, right, before I start, I do have a little video. I have a few little videos, actually. I'm going to dot in other videos. But I do have a little video of the Diamond Art Club Putty and my first impressions when I started. And I'm going to work with it again today and then talk about how it's working for me. So I'll just flip over to that video now. So this is a very mini video, and it'll be so short that I think I might stitch it onto the beginning of a WIP and Chat or something. But basically, I've just been desperate to try out Dak's Sparkle Putty. So as you know, I'm a putty user, and as much as I like all the different scents and everything, I do find that, once you open it, when you're using it, I don't really find the scent often carries, unless I just keep smelling my pen. I did get the rose one because I thought pink looked nicer than white. That was merely my choice, and I'd heard people say that the rose didn't really smell of much, and I've smelt it and it doesn't, particularly to me. But I was very interested in what Dak had done, because I know they are moving into a lot of areas where previously a lot of small businesses were selling, because Putty is sold all over the world by different creative people in every single market. So yeah, it's just what Dak have done with it, and I know, that it's not as good for a big company, to always do it, but I do like the fact that Dak put a lot of work into developing their product, so I'm hopeful that this is incredibly good quality, but we will just have to see. So I've actually given one of these to Sarah to try, because I'm nice like that, so I've actually got 9 in here, but it's Diamond Art Club, do what makes you sparkle, and their branding up here, and it is Rose Sparkle Putty. Like I said, it's also available in a plain white, non-toxic, and I was really interested in that non-toxic sign, actually, because a lot of the materials used to make putty are very toxic, that they have to have really bad warning labels on the back. So it doesn't say that you can't eat it, but, I guess if you did, it says non-toxic on it, so I guess nothing bad must happen to you if you did. But yeah, scented putty for diamond painting, and on the back here it just says again, Rose Sparkle Putty, and it says, our putty is crafted to enhance your diamond painting experience for effortless pickup and placement of your diamonds. Gently press the tip of the applicator into the putty, then begin applying diamonds to your canvas. The only argument I had is this isn't quite enough detail, I think, if you have never used putty before. But I have, so I know, so I'm just going to show you my first impressions. So, as you can see, it comes in 9 lovely blocks. And I'm very much like greaseproof, like, well, it's actually almost like a release paper that it's on. You see that Diamond Art Club branded paper, and then it's just got what looks like a bit of film, like on the front of diamond paintings on the top. Only thing is, I'd probably like to store this somewhere else, but I've probably got some old little bags somewhere that I can keep it, just as long as it's sealed, and I'll just keep it between a couple of just cut some release paper up or something, and then just keep it between two release papers, and then just did a sealed bag. So edit like even a little baggie would probably be okay, and yeah, and then you're all set. I'm just gonna zoom you in now. So this, it's already got an indentation, so you can actually just pull it apart quite easily. But I'm just gonna get my craft knife, just makes it a little bit neater. There we go. Okay, and that's come away. Okay, I'm just going to put this on a piece of my release paper, and I'm just going to put the rest of it away, just so it doesn't go off. Okay, just put that away. Okay, so I've got one little square out, and I will start with using my favourite number placer, and it does need replacing actually, so just put my craft knife over there, and I'm just removing my putty. Just going to stand up to make sure you've got the best view of this. So I'm just taking my tweezers together and just dragging it along, and I'm using Diamond Art Club's metal multiplacers. I recommend these above all other multiplacers because they are so good. And I think I've heard news that they are actually going to be going into turning some of the new premium pens into ones with multiplacers that will have the twist-on design, you know, so you've got the putty inside which will load the placer. I'm not sure exactly how they've done it and how good it will be, but I'm really keen to see. I don't imagine that you'll be able to have a 12 placer, but we'll see. Because, I mean, there's another lady I know called, well, they don't know her personally, I just know of her, called Ivy's Dazzlers. Well, that's the name of her, like, company. She does her Dazzle pens. So you see, that's totally empty now. I'm just going to take the putty out the single placer as well. There we go. So I've done videos before on how to use putty and everything, so I'll only do the basics, but basically you just press down. So this is a multiplacer, and you just press down into the putty like so. Okay, so as I was saying, so you just press down into the putty with your multiplacer, and then actually this one is lifting up, so, and if you can see, sorry, just getting the angle with the camera here, you just let the putty just ease off the edges, and you are left with putty in the multiplacer like that. And the same principle with the single place. I'll try and use some of this waste from the side. Just press right down, and I just twist and twist and twist until the putty is all in the single placer. And then after you've done, always, like I said, put it away. I'm just going to cut myself This is just bog standard double-sided release paper. So I've just cut myself 2 pieces, just a little bit larger than the putty, one over the other to stop it sticking, and I'm just going to get a little baggie. Okay, like that. Right, let's start having a go. Okay, so I've just got some diamonds to place, and I'm just going to just see how well this putty works. So far so good. Placing well, it's not coming out the pen, which is really good. I will try some ABs in a second. I mean, I get with any putty, you get that like where one of them is a bit stubborn. And now that needs, that putty probably just needs a little bit of a smooth down. So I'm just getting it, I'm just smoothing it down. Before I continue using it. Okay, just do a 5. Just do a few more, and then I will move on to ABs. And sometimes when you're starting off a bit of putty, it just takes a little while for it to set in and, you know, sort itself out. I am a fairly hard presser. I like to think I'm not, but I know I am. And it's not leaving any bits of putty behind. I will check how sticky it is against the canvas in a minute, but I imagine it will still be sticking to the canvas, which is fine because you expect it. Putty is sticky in itself, so you don't expect it not to do that. Okay, so this one didn't stick because it's concaved, so it's just curved, you know, so that's why that one didn't stick. Nothing to do with the putty. Because so far it's not doing too bad a job at all, really. Given that I'd never used this putty before, I'm getting on with it quite well, so yeah. So I'm just going to fully test it. Oops, sorry. I'm going to have to do some ABs, of course, so I'll just get some ABs out in another tray and try them. Now, yes, I've got some ones up here. Okay, so fortunately I don't have very many to test in this area of the pattern, but okay, so first of all I'm just going to try single placing, because putty is notorious for coming out of the placer when you try to single place with ABs. So, oh, hasn't? Oh, almost. Yeah, And that's just pulled it out. So that's unfortunate, but just carry on. Yeah, and that's come out again. So they don't have the magic formula down for no putty. I mean, the only thing really with putty I found that has ever worked is that is if you run the putty down, so it's like kind of below the level of the placer. But it's really hard to get putty into that sort of state for long, because it soon becomes useless, because it then goes so far inside the placer that you can't use it anymore because it's not sticking to anything. Okay, I'm just trying some multiplacing. I'd only got these 4 left to do, but I've just picked these up with a multiplacer and I'm just placing down. Yep, and they've placed lovely. Lovely. Okay, so from that very, very short little try with my Diamond Dark Club rose scented sparkle putty, I'm quite impressed with it. It's working quite well with normal drills, and yeah, and it's got the normal problems with ABs, as does all putty. I'll be interested to see how the twist-on pens work with ABs and everything. If because the putty is coming from inside the pen, maybe that will mean that they're easier to deal with, and you don't have the issue with the putty being pulled out the pen because the putty is already inside the pen. So yeah, I'll be interested to see, and of course when I get those I'll test them as soon as I get them, but yeah, but I'm impressed, and it's just so cost effective, this. I mean, you get 10 for, I can't remember how much, but it wasn't a lot of money, I didn't think. I know Diamond Art Club can overcharge us for some things, but we always say it's a premium brand. This was really reasonably priced. And I know when you're buying lots of different scents all the time, the prices can eke up. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't always feel that the scents, you can smell them all the time, other than smelling your pen every now and then. And actually, I can barely smell anything from that. Maybe a little whiff, I mean, it doesn't help the fact that I have hay fever as well. But yeah, so yeah, quite impressed with that. Very, very good first impressions. I'm not sure this putty in here is the same putty that goes inside the twist-on pens or not. So I'll have to clarify that when I get them. But yeah. Okay, so I've worked with that putty a little bit. It's got good points and bad points, like all putty. But I will work with it again today and see how we go. Okay. So just let me turn the overhead camera on. Okay, so before we start... Oh, actually, let me just turn my light board off so you can see what I've done. So, as you can see, I'm on the last potion on the right-hand side on the second row. And it's looking amazing. This is the Fertility Potion, and I'm really... loving the colours in this. I mean, there's some butterflies there. I think this is all about new life. It's like a spring sort of scene to signify that new life sort of aspect of fertility. And the royal potion next to it, I can't remember if I how far I got on this last time. Might have been over here somewhere when I last WIP and Chat with you. But yeah, so forgive me if I cross over in things, because I forget what I've talked about sometimes, but I'll try and just be in general what's going on with me. But anyway, so I'm just seeing those drills. Oh, love the feel of drills, so tactile. But anyway, yeah, so I'm working on this Fertility Potion. I started this bit last night, so I've done this and this while I was watching an episode of NCIS Los Angeles. That's one of my new things I'm watching. It's a bit mixed feelings, because I watched it with a friend years ago that's no longer a friend, so I had kind of mixed feelings about it, but I always loved NCIS Los Angeles, but I will talk about that later. Okay, so, right, before I start, I am just going to sort my trays and load my putty. Okay, so this is a fair thing. Let's do some fresh putty. I've actually found that this putty was a little bit too thick for me, so I've been rolling it a bit thinner to try and get that balance right, because I found that it was so thick that it came beyond the top of my placer, and it just wasn't working for me. So I'm just trying to get that kind of balance right. And this the thing I was using to roll was just this, which is a acrylic little tiny one. You can usually use the polymer clay. They're usually quite cheap to pick up on Amazon or craft shops. Okay, so I've loaded all my putties. I've just using my Add More Zest limited edition tray, which is a lime green and royal blue from last month, as I unboxed on a previous video. And I've got 3 pens from Jay's hand turned pens. They're wooden ones and all hand turned, and this one here actually is quite special because he's like stained the wood beforehand and then turned it. All of them have got diamond art clubs, metal places on the tops, which I find the easiest to use. Okay. Okay, so where to begin? Okay, so well, recently I managed to get myself back to work, and it was work was working. It was doing really well. Because I was off for a month when I got back from Disney World, and really struggling to get back to work. But anyway, I did it. I actually got back, and yeah, it felt really good. I mean, the first weekend I got back, I made sure I had lighter duties than I had, and yeah, it was. It just felt really good, to be back and seeing my patients, supporting my staff, after all this time, and it's just been so hard because I've had the death of my boss to deal with, and just getting back to work as well, because my boss being off wasn't the reason, that I was off sick. And it's like I still got colleagues that are struggling and off sick with it, so he really affected so many of us, in a positive way. So seeing him not there anymore is just so weird, And he's the sort of person where we would just be like, oh, we would just like be asking him, I'll just tell just tell my boss, without thinking, oh, he's not there anymore, and the person has that much influence, you just, in a positive way, it just, if you don't realise, it gets left everywhere, in the patients, the people, the places, all the bits of documentation that he did, it is just mind-blowing, really, how much, how in places he got to, and devastating that he's just not there anymore. And I'm trying to cope in my own way. I mean, I feel like I'm moving on and I just want to get on with the next stage now. I want to work with my new manager when they get appointed and just move on as our team, because our team has been combined with another team at the moment, and it's a lovely team and it's great, but we know that it's not a long-term fix. We'll need our new manager and we'll need to break the team back again because it's too big a team to manage at the moment. And yeah, so I want to move on, and I want to move on to that next stage, but I guess part of me feels guilty that I want that I don't want to just keep wallowing in my grief, for my boss. And yeah, but I know him, and I know that that's what he would have wanted for me, so yeah, it's one of those really difficult situations, to think about. But yeah, and I don't know, me as a individual, where I'm just trying to enjoy my job again, and in a positive way. And I was off for so long because I found it so difficult to enjoy my job, and I found it difficult to look after my patients and care about what I was doing, which terrified me at the time, as I've said many occasions. So for that, for me to have to go back and try and enjoy my job again when my boss is not there, when he was a big part of what made my job great, so to not have him there, it's yeah, it is difficult, and he was a great friend as well, so yeah, but yeah, so, but, and, well, I guess the other big thing that's happened to me, which many of you in my Facebook group will know, is that I caught COVID. Unfortunately, my friend Sarah, who I support a lot, she lives with adult children. The thing at the times, kids aren't able to leave home as much as they used to. But anyway, she is vulnerable and on methotrexate to manage her undifferentiated disconnected tissue disease. She only just started that a few weeks ago, but so she's susceptible to things quite easily, and she caught COVID from her son, which can't be helped. It's still out there, it's not gone, and yeah, and then of course I help her a lot, so she gave it to me unwittingly, which, not blaming her or anything, I jokingly may here, but not really, it's just one of those things at the moment. But yeah, so and unfortunately, because I got COVID, well, I couldn't go into work on Thursday. Was it Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday? Yes, it was Thursday, Friday of the. No, wait. Yeah, I'd worked the Wednesday, and I had no idea I had it. I had no symptoms whatsoever. I actually thought I'd got. I mean, I knew Sarah had it, but all our policies and everything, right down from the government, at the moment, is if you don't have symptoms, you don't have to test and everything. But because Sarah is vulnerable, and because my husband, his job is he has to go into London, into offices from time to time, and and they are very, very sensible and very strict, and for his sake, I tested, and I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm a nurse. I should be testing, and everything if I'm going to see patients. But I don't personally believe in it, but a lot of our policies from the top down in this country at the moment are quite lax and quite more towards getting used to living with COVID, so it's more about like, unless you have actual symptoms, you don't test. And actually, our policies just changed recently, so that basically we don't test at all. We only like isolate if we have any kind of respiratory symptoms. So we could just be spreading COVID around without realizing it, and I guess all our patients that are vulnerable have been vaccinated and everything that can be, but it feels a bit weird to like potentially be going to work knowing that you could be potentially infecting all your patients, and so it's but anyway, I rang in, but unfortunately the day I rang in was the day of my boss's funeral, and so I wasn't able to go to my boss's funeral, and that has affected me quite a lot. And because I've not really been able to have closure, so and like say goodbye and everything, so I'm just trying to work out how I do that now. My bestie Sarah, she worked with my boss as well previously. She worked in the team, and so because she got COVID and she was the one that gave it to me, she wasn't able to say goodbye either. So we did say that we're going to try and find out where his ashes are going to be scattered, and then visit there, and and I'll say goodbye my own way, and I mourn in my own way, so but it was sad that I wasn't able to be there. My manager, one of my district nurse managers, she said a speech in my boss's memory, and then she shared the speech with me, which was nice of her. So I was able to read that and imagine how that must have been, being spoken at the funeral. But it's not just it's not just missing it and what it meant to me in regards to my boss. It was the camaraderie, because I just felt like I totally missed out on a big team building thing, event, because I know it sounds stupid, but I don't like missing out on things. I don't like not being a part of things. I think that's part of my ADHD and neurodivergency and, potentially like autistic qualities that I'm sure I have. But this is still a bit too thick for... I'll have to roll it down again, but so I don't like missing out on stuff, and obviously not being there with everyone else when I could have been, if I hadn't had the COVID, that hurt a lot, and my boss meant a lot to me, so not being able to be there was very difficult. But anyway, got to deal with it. It happened, not going to fall into a black hole of despair. I've had enough of that in the last year, and my boss wouldn't want that, so I'm just going to try and live my best life and do as good as I can. I mean, the following week, I went back to work, which was I was lucky that I had a negative test the night before I went back to work. But even if I hadn't, I would have had to go in, because our policy now is that our policy was at the time that you only go in, that you can go in 5 days after your initial positive test, and you don't have to test again, so any further tests are kind of disregarded. And now testing isn't even mentioned in our policies. Now, I'm not blaming my organisation or anything, but I think it is right from the top down. I personally find it quite difficult to deal with that. The fact that I could be going in and infecting my patients. I feel it feels a bit irresponsible to me. But then I guess I'm not the one making these decisions, so I honestly don't know if it's right or wrong. But yeah, I mean, we've been through an awful pandemic, and I don't want to go back to a time where we self-isolated again. As nice as that was, to be able to, just stay in our houses and outside of work, and then just enjoy that space, that isolation, which I actually kind of like that sort of life, but because I spend a lot of time at home anyway, so I actually kind of enjoyed aspects of the pandemic. But I think it was just not seeing Sarah, not seeing my family, not having a proper Christmas or a couple of years in a row. The really important things in life that make, that you really enjoy. So it was things like that. That I really, really got affected by. But I wrote my novel during that time. Not finished, still got to be rewritten and stuff. But yeah, so a lot of positive things came in that time, even though it was a horrifically negative, awful time for the world. For many people who lost their lives. And I'm very, very lucky in that I didn't really lose many people myself during that time. My mum and dad are still here. All my grandparents are now dead, but none of them died of COVID, and to be honest, they all lived to a reasonably old age. My granny was quite tragic to me. She was a physio, and she died of ovarian cancer, and I still have unanswered questions to this day about what actually happened, because I believed she was having curative surgery, and then she went in for this surgery, and when she came out, it turns out it was clear it wasn't curative surgery, and she was palliative, and she died within like a few days. So it was very difficult time to me, and I was really close to my granny. I'm sure I've talked about her in previous visits. She was a very, very stern figure. I guess firm but fair is the sort of person I would say about my granny. She wasn't my real granny, she was my step granny, because my real granny died when she was, before I was born. My dad was like a young teenager at the time, and we have this awful family history of aneurysms in the brain, and I think my dad's mum carried that. My dad's mum Shirley carried that, and it affected everyone. And my uncle Simon died when he was 35. He had aneurysms, like burst when he was only like 11. he'd done the 11 plus. He was going to go to grammar school and passed with flying. He passed with flying colours. He had his whole life ahead of him, and then he didn't. So yeah, that did leave a toll in that side of the family. But my granny, my step granny, she was my Uncle Simon's physio, and that's how she met my granddad. And I think they met very quickly after my granddad. Very, very quickly after my granddad lost his wife, lost my dad's real mum, and they were married quite quickly. But I just think they were both older and they just wanted to get on with things, so which I can't blame them for, really, but she had a very positive influence in my life. She really, really loved the fact that I was a nurse, because not really any of our family had gone into the profession, the medical profession. So I think she was really pleased, really proud that that's what I did. And I often when I went home, I would always go and have a drink with them, and with my granny, and have a chat to my granny about this and that and anything, and she had so much knowledge. And yeah, and to see her deteriorate with the ovarian cancer and then all of a sudden die, it was very quick, really, in the grand scheme of things. I found that very difficult. But sorry, we're digressing off the subject, I know, but it's important stuff to me, so yeah. But very lucky otherwise, getting through that period of COVID. So yeah, the only thing with this putty is it's similar to other putties, but I find that, like I said, I'm trying to roll it so that it's not as thick. But when you put it in, it protrudes over the edge. And if I then smooth it over like this... Oh, sorry, I've not got the thing. In fact, I can smooth it over so that it's flush with the edge of the placer. But what I find then happens is it doesn't last very long. Which is why I like a little bit beyond the edge, so... My friend Sarah, she wants to try and develop a beeswax putty by mixing different waxes with the beeswax, so I just have to see how that goes, because I'm keen to find different options, because, I want to try everything to see what the best thing is, but yeah. But yeah, so getting over. So yeah, I went to back to work this week. I've worked 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and then I'm back working I'm back working on next Wednesday, and I'm working the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, and actually, I did have a bit of a breakthrough in that I had quite a stressful day on Thursday. Sorry, it was Wednesday, Thursday this week. I've worked. Sorry, I had very stressful day, and there were lots of what I call timed visits. So you have to be there at a certain time. Maybe you're meeting someone, or just like a carer or something that's going to help you, etc. So it was. I was thinking about all these timed visits and getting whatever done in whatever order, and yeah. And those, funnily enough, that was the sort of thing that made me go off sick each time, it was always looking at my work and thinking, oh, I've got this really, really difficult looking day. Or even if it wasn't that difficult, it was just all these factors which I have to try my best to adapt to this situation. I can't do patients at my own pace. It's kind of set for me with this, and I don't know if any external factors will affect, like traffic or patients being ill, that I'm going to see, and that really overwhelms me. And it's just the thought of it. But anyway, I went in and I did it, and I took my propranolol for my anxiety, and like I've been doing twice a day every day, and that's helping immensely. And yeah, and then when I finished my list, I did go into the office to get some supplies, but then I said to people in the office that were in the office, I just said, right, I'm going home now, I want to document. And I said, I'm at the border of being really overwhelmed, so I said, I just need to go home, I need an afternoon with no people, so I can get on with things and not stress, and they were fine with that, so that's what I did. But yeah, so it was nice the work to be supportive like that, and I think, yeah, now that I have the ADHD diagnosis as well, I feel like maybe I'm being more aware of my limitations and aware that I do need to say stuff when things get too much, because otherwise I'm going to get into that situation again, of not being able to control the situation. I'm getting really stressed and depressed and going off sick again, which I really don't want. My friend Sarah worries about me sometimes, that I get social anxiety a lot, like when I'm out and about. We're opposites, so my friend Sarah loves to just do stuff and like just go out and go to garden centres or go to shops and do what she calls pottering. So, she'll just go around a shop, and sometimes it's no aim, just looking at everything, pottering, as she calls it, and I really struggle with that. I just struggle to deal with it. I don't mind if there's something I'm interested in or something, and it sounds really selfish, but if it's something I can relate to or something, yeah, oh yeah, I'll go and I'll look at this stuff and you look at that, Sarah. But if it's just Sarah looking at stuff and I've no interest in what we're doing, I find it really difficult to adapt and stay focused or stay interested. And then it's like the environment, there's people around me, there's just all the activity in the area, and I just really struggle with it, so. And my friend Sarah knows I do try and cope with it. I mean, I had a really bad one yesterday because me and my friend Sarah, we stayed up. I got the day off on Friday for the election, so we could stay up all night. So very, very, very quick, tiny political note. I'm not going to make this about politics, but I'm thrilled that finally I'm thrilled that we have what I feel is a stable leader with a good heart. Our politics has been awful for the last more than the last 10 years, and to have someone, that I feel will lead us really well and make the right decisions with a kind heart, I'm just thrilled about. So, yeah. But no more of that. Yeah, but anyway, we stayed up because we're both really into the politics and everything, and Sarah really is. And so we decided to stay up, and we stayed up till about 5 in the morning, I think. But anyway, I was wiped the next day. We did go to sleep, but Sarah, I think, slept better than I did. and because my husband came back from work, he was doing something to do with the election, I can't say what, and yeah, so Sarah slept better than I did, but she wanted to go to a garden centre, and I had a few chores to do, so I said, yeah, that's fine. And I think I was just so overwhelmingly tired that I was struggling to cope and, you know, stay focused on what we were doing. I really had very little interest on being there, you know. I just wanted to support my friend, you know, so I found that quite difficult, but we've talked about it and things I can do and strategies we can maybe apply, you know, to make things easier for me when we go out. And it's daft because in my job I'm fine, you know, I can do whatever, you know, well, not fine, but, you know, better than I am when we go out like that. And I think part of it was we were on a time pressure as well, and I can usually cope better if it's stretched out a bit, and if we have lunch at the cafe and stuff like that, you know, it just gets a little bit easier. So yeah, but that is still a struggle, and I don't know, I do still live with being on the edge and knowing that even the tiniest little thing can affect me and send me crashing back, you know. And that awareness, really, that terrified awareness that my mental health is fragile, and if I'm not careful, if I don't, you know, listen to the cues and everything, that I could just end up right back where I started. And I don't want that. It terrifies me, it terrifies my husband. So yeah, I'm just really struggling to cope with that, I guess. But yeah, so and just, I think some of it is unmasking from, like I said again, from my ADHD, and becoming more aware when I don't want to do things. Like, we had a work barbecue, and in the past I probably would have gone just to sorry, I've got a tag on one of these. Yeah, in the past I probably would have just gone and tried and felt that I ought to go and just try and cope as best I can, and I kind of might enjoy it a bit, but I'd really want to go home early and stuff. And anyway, but now I'm just like, well, I don't enjoy that sort of thing, so why should I put myself... Oh, where is it? There it is. Yeah, so why should I put myself through that if I'm not actually enjoying it? So I'm just looking for some washi tape. Yeah, why put myself through that if I'm not going to enjoy it? So I didn't. I just told people. I think people are fine with it. They know that I struggle with stuff like that, and I'm not the only person, you know. So yeah, I'm just trying to accept myself, I guess, that it's okay to be you, to do you. You do you, you know, and whatever works for me, you know, because we're all different and we all cope in different ways, and you don't have to be the life of the party to have a good life, you know. So I'm just coming to terms with that, really. Sorry, this It's not really going in this pen properly, so I just put a bit of washi tape. I am going to glue all these in at some point. I just need the right glue. I guess I could talk a bit about movies and TV shows, you know. I love fantasy TV shows, but I also love I don't know. I love a variety of things. I like a bit of comedy, a bit of drama, sometimes. It just depends what I'm in the mood for, really. But I was going to talk about NCIS, wasn't I? So I talked in a previous video about friends that are no longer friends because it was a very traumatic, stressful time, and they were not really real friends. They had their own interests, and yeah, they were not there for me in the way I needed them to be there for me, and it was a very controlling sort of relationship, and yeah, I struggled a lot with it. So yeah, so they that was a very difficult time for me, and but I think there was a time when I slept over at one of these friends' houses quite a lot, and one of the things that she would watch is NCIS Los Angeles, and I always loved this one because it had Linda Hunt playing Hetty, and she's like the operations manager for the Los Angeles office, and play yes, and Linda Hunt does an amazing job as Hetty, and I really love her performance. I love the actress, and it's just a bit different, really, you know, and yeah, so I really enjoyed it, watching it with her, but obviously for a long time I didn't watch it because obviously it was associated with a very traumatic memory of this friendship, so I didn't watch it for ages. But then I think a little while ago I just wanted something easy to watch, and I just thought, oh, I'll get that and see how it goes, you know, and then I did enjoy it, and I guess I didn't remember much, and because we watched fragmented episodes, the odd episode here and there, so I didn't really watch the whole thing, you know. So I bought the entire series, and with the plans to watch it all, you know. And it's weird. It's like a show that coasts between being a little bit in the middle of a daytime TV show and a serious drama. So it's quite a nice show, you know, to just, if I want to chill out and relax and do some diamond painting, I can watch it. It's not too difficult to understand what's going on, like with some murder mystery shows, you know, or crime shows, you know. So I like that about it. But yeah, but no, I'm really enjoying it, you know, and there's just a different plot line in every episode really at the moment, and I know they connect, and there's some bigger picture things later on, so I'm looking forward to keeping going with it, really. But yeah, so that's my latest guilty pleasure, I guess I call it. Still watching Supernatural. I'm up to season 7 now, which is a very, very strong season, I feel, you know, but not going to give anything away if you've not watched it yet, but yeah, and I think, yeah, I really enjoy this season, but it's it's then followed by season 8, which I didn't think started as strongly, so I stopped watching, but I'm gonna power through and continue. You know, I'm determined, although I was determined to finish Twin Peaks, wasn't I? But oh well, I can't help my ADHD brain sometimes. But yeah. I don't really know if I've watched many films recently, because We often watch them on Saturday night, but me and my husband isolated from each other while I had COVID, so we weren't really able to watch anything together, which was sad. But but I managed to avoid him catching it, which was really good. I think that was the first time one of us had got it, but the other hasn't caught it. So by the end, so that was really cool. But we managed that, but but we weren't able to spend time, so we haven't really watched many movies recently. I don't really know what we'll watch tonight, if we do watch anything, because it's Saturday. I feel we should watch something, because we've not spent enough time together recently. But what that will be, I don't know. My husband will be angling to watch Wish or something, which is like a recent Disney film that flopped a bit. Well, a lot actually, I think. And thinking what else he wanted to watch, I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, so sorry, this tray just needs a shake. It's like screwing your eyes up with this bit, because it's just looking black and black and black. I mean, this is navy black, I think. No, it's not. This is, well, it's a brown actually, very very dark brown. 938. Yes, this is the issue of putty. Yeah, you smooth it and then it's very difficult to get it to keep its stickiness. But I know I'll probably get lots of people comment and say, oh, it's fine for me, and everything. But I'm a hard presser, so it is tricky. But I guess it's... Oh yeah, and recently I've been struggling with my gaming, as you may know, getting into that, because I just love diamond painting so much at the moment, so it's hard to find time for everything, and it's hard also to focus on something else and really enjoy it. But for some reason I wanted I wanted a quicker, chilling game that wasn't massively overwhelming to get into, and I just thought I want an action game, and I don't know why I picked it, but Tomb Raider has been through several iterations since Crystal Dynamics took it over. So basically, Tomb Raider was made and designed by Core Design originally, a UK company, but it had 6 games in its original run. It's Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 3, Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation, and Tomb Raider 5, Tomb Raider Chronicles. It wasn't called Tomb Raider 5. And basically, it's been long enough, but Lara kind of almost dies at the end of Tomb Raider 4. And then, apologies if no one knows what Tomb Raider is. Tomb Raider is a gaming franchise, a gaming series, where a character called Lara Croft, who is like kind of a daughter of an aristocrat, who is an archaeologist, and goes on adventures around the world, very very much like Indiana Jones. Although I've always felt that Tomb Raider was surpassed Indiana Jones so much, but because she was a woman, it was more powerful female icon, and I don't know, I always preferred the way Lara Croft approached stuff. She always seemed way cooler, and and then Indiana Jones didn't spawn a whole bunch of games, although we have got the Uncharted games now, which I feel like kind of capitalise on what Tomb Raider did, although a lot of people, I think, will feel it's a bit more hardcore, with all there's a lot more gun scenes in the Uncharted games. That follows a guy called Nathan Drake doing very similar things, to be honest, to what Lara Croft did. But of course, Indiana Jones came first, so they're all inspired by that. But I just loved the iconic two guns that Lara Croft had in the original, and I just loved the exploration, and you're just all on your own in these environments. You often the only one to have, the first person to have been there in centuries or thousands of years sometimes, and but then that aloneness and that exploration, that was the bits I enjoyed most about it, and solving these ancient puzzles, and I really enjoyed that. And they're not particularly long games, they're often between 15 and 20 hours, but anyway, I'll digress. So the original Tomb Raider series was like traditional raiding tombs and stuff, and saving the world and things often, and then from bad guys, and then Lara Croft. So see, the fourth one she almost died, and then the fifth one she kind of sorry, just get more of this cover 938. Oh, we've not got much left, have we? So then there were some of her people who knew her, telling her best stories, like in the best like Lara Croft stories you hadn't heard about. So there were about 4 or 5 mini adventures from when she was like a teenage girl, taken out by Vernon von Croy, this other German explorer that she went out with, and various other things, and she but anyway, so that game was relatively successful, but then the next one, Angel of Darkness, happened in Paris, and it was just a big flop. It was not a good game at all, and I don't even know if I actually finished it but and it just slipped massively, and that was when Eidos, the publisher of the game, decided to give the game rights over to another company. I think it was a Canadian company called Crystal Dynamics, and they did an amazing job with it. They basically turned it into, well, they took it back to its roots and the core of what Tomb Raider is, and they did a trilogy of games. Tomb Raider, the first one was just called oh god, what was it called? Tomb Raider Legend, I think. But anyway, and then that one was a globe-trotting adventure, very, very traditional Tomb Raider, and really cool. And then the next game, they actually remade the original Tomb Raider game. So they redid every level, but did it like modernly. So it was just a truly modern immersive game. It was amazing, and that was really good. And then they incorporated characters from that original one in the arc of the original of this three new games. And so the final game, they in the series, they culminated that with stuff from the original game and the first of that series of games that they did, and it was amazing. It was really good. And then when they got to the end of that trilogy, they decided that they'd done enough with that authentic Tomb Raider, and they were going to go back before its roots again and remake it again. And they basically did it so like when Lara was like a young woman on her first proper mission. And I didn't really connect with that as much because I loved the whole Tomb Raiding aspects, and I just felt that maybe it was taking it away from Tomb Raider a bit much for my liking. So probably a bit childishly and arrogantly at that age, I decided that I didn't want any part of it, so I didn't play it for quite some time. And then I borrowed it from a friend and did kind of enjoy it, but then he wanted it back, so I didn't play it again for years. And this is the first time I've actually replayed this first game in this new iteration of Tomb Raider. Although I have played the second game fully in these iterations, and I did enjoy that, so I am actually really enjoying it again, and can't wait for the next iteration, because there is going to be another series of games, I think. So they're bringing out another one, and again, it is basically going back to authentic Tomb Raider again. You know, so this character that they've built up, with Lara, who's built up from like being a young explorer archaeologist. They're gonna go to the next stage where she's in her core, you know, Tomb Raider year. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we're kind of going back to exactly where I like it, which is the core. I do find it difficult in these games where they're like all like shooty, lots of enemies and stuff, you know. So I find that difficult, but yeah, it is what. But I get used to it, you know. But anyway, so I think this is just about our time. I've enjoyed talking to you and updating you and everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more unboxings. I'm planning to unbox the Nathaniel Mortensen mystery painting, which I don't know when I'm doing. But anyway, and then and I've got various other things planned. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, just consider giving it the thumbs up. If you like my content in general, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon and clicking all to get all the notifications. As always, bye for now.